Looks like something bad happened. I guess you forgot about me. Want to see the scooping room? I guess you forgot about me.
I could hear you breathing. Admit it, you wanted to let me in. Why do you hide inside these walls? Don't be shy. These are strange circumstances that have brought us together.
I bet you weren't expecting me, were ya? Turn your back for 1 second and I'm like, wazoo! Ninja skills. You and I don't get to talk as often as I'd like. Everyone underestimates me, but then they turn their back and I'm like, boo! And they're like, wah! Move over, Freddy Fazbear. Happy Frog is the new star of the show. We've only just begun. I will never let you leave. I will never let you rest.
It seems you couldn't make it to my show, so I brought the show to you. Show times are on the hour, not a moment before and not a moment later. It's time to take your final bow. I'm sorry, but there was never enough room on this stage for both of us. A performance was demanded of me, and now I have delivered. Encore!
Never underestimate the cunning of a pirate. Or a fox, for that matter. You never stood a chance. I came for ye booty. That be treasure, you know. I can't run like I used to, but I can pull myself apart just fine. So much more spacious in here. I may stay a while.
Let me put you back together, then take you apart all over again. Let's see how many times you can be pulled apart. I assure you, I am very real. This time, there is more than an illusion to fear. We know who our friends are, and you are not one of them.
Yarg, ye play with fire, and sometimes ye get burned.
You are attempting to trick Freddy! You are attempting to...
Freddy doesn't like this.
I always come back.
I told him to come over later. That should be enough. And if he doesn't show up, I'll just go to his house. And if he doesn't open the door, I'll just find a window. Chimney's always an option. Or I could set the house on fire and wait for him to run out. Then he could run into my arms.
Did things get really hot in here, or is it just me? Come and burn with me. The fire within me burns eternal, and now you shall as well. I am a burning reminder of your misdeeds. Greetings from the fire, and from the one you should not have killed.
There is only one thing that could possibly go wrong. I'll just wait for him after school, throw a bag over his head, hit him with a shovel, and drag him into the back of my car. Then, when he wakes up, I'll tell him that someone was trying to kidnap and kill him. I don't know, Balloon Boy maybe. And then I'll tell him that I rescued him. He'll fall for me immediately. I told him that I needed help with my homework. But once he's there, I'll have him. And once I have him, he'll be mine forever. I told him that my house was on fire. But once he's there, I'll tell him that I threw myself on the flames to put them out. He'll be so impressed that he'll fall for me immediately. And once I have him, he'll be mine forever.
What is this new prison? Is it me trapped, or is it you? Perhaps it is us both. I may be missing my face, but even I could see his tongue.
He promised them to never leave them. Now I will tell you a story. But he could not choose. He pieced the remains together.
Uh-oh, how unfortunate. Uh-oh, how unfortunate. I'm gonna do a sneaky thing and throw a new contender in the ring. Uh-oh, how unfortunate. Uh-oh, how unfortunate. I know how much you like to fight, so I'll add a new problem to your night.
Please deposit 5 coins. Please deposit 5 coins.
Don't get distracted.
Look at those ears. Those amazing ears. He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it.
Over soon. Shh. There is room for one more. Shh. Come spend eternity inside with me. Shh. I've been looking for you, and now I will never let you go. Shh. I'm so glad that I found you. Let me make room for you.
I told him that I've taken several live hostages at my house. But once he's there, I'll tell him that I let them go because I love him. He'll fall for me immediately. And once I have him, he'll be mine forever.
Don't be afraid. Soon you will look just like me. Beautiful. Now I get to play take apart and put back together. You won't feel a thing. I wanted to wait until just the right moment to drop in. It's so much more fun hanging out in here with you. He's here and always watching. The one you shouldn't have killed.
Seeing you powerless is like music to me. I don't hate you, but you need to stay out of my way. I recognize you, but I'm not afraid of you. Not anymore. The others are under my protection. The others are like animals, but I am very aware.
You will not be spared. You will not be saved. The shadow fears me. I am your wickedness made of flesh. I am here to claim what is left of you. I will vomit you back to relieve your horror.
Today is all about me, me, me.
You and I will be making music together for a long, long time. You hear that? It's the sweet, sweet sound of your eternal silence. Hey, keep it down, would ya? When I'm here, you play by my rules. A song was requested of me, and now I sing it.
Don't you hate getting killed by obscure secondary characters? Stranger danger! I was just waiting for you to drop your guard. Whoops, that's gonna leave a mark. This is how it feels, and you get to experience it over and over and over again, forever. I will never let you leave.
I am remade, but not by you, by the one you should not have killed. No light can save you now. I have always been hiding in your shadow. What a gift to relish, a victim that can't perish. I am given flesh to be your tormentor.
Come closer. Help me count my teeth. You're not so big. Just a bite-sized morsel. You knew I'd get you eventually. There just isn't room in here for both of us. Flash that light all you want. It can't save you now.
This is a nightmare that you won't wake from. This time, death cannot save you. The nightmare is just beginning. Let's taste death again and again and again. I am the fearful reflection of what you have created.
What did you think of my act? I don't get out much, so you'll have to forgive my enthusiasm. I hope you enjoyed the grand finale. Now is my time to shine. He tried to release you. He tried to release us. But I'm not going to let that happen. I will hold you here. I will keep you here. No matter how many times they burn us.
I consider it a dignified death. Not really. It was actually quite pathetic.
If you sit by the river long enough, you will see the body of your enemy float by. Even monkeys fall from trees. The nail that sticks out gets hammered down. The talented hawk hides his claws.
I told him that someone ran over his dog in front of my house. But once he's there, I'll entice him with warm cookies, lure him inside, invite him inside, and then I'll have him. And once I have him, he'll be mine forever.
Why so blue? You know I'll be true, and now I'll make slippers out of you. So good to see you again, my truest friend, but now your life must end. What a fine day to come here and say that your face and flesh I must play. What a treat to come here and meet your face as it hits concrete. I've found my guitar, now reach for the stars as I plunge it through your heart.
I'm ready for my close-up.
Yar, what can I do for ya? Yarg, how may I be of service to ya? Yar, who touched me bird? Yar, me bird likes you, so I'll do ye a favor.
That's right! And don't you come back now, you hear? That'll teach you for trying to trick this old bird. Thought you could fool me with that sign, but I was too smart for you. I may not like wet floors, but the smell of fresh meat is just too enticing. Whoops, looks like you're the one that slipped up this time.
Say cheese!
Time for your controlled shock. Time for your controlled shock. Let's see how many pieces I can cut you into. You won't die, but you'll wish you could.
Look at that untamed fur. That amazing silky sheen. He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it.
Please deposit 5 coins.
Smile!
Look at that snout. Looks aren't everything. He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it. Look at those strings. Those long, beautiful strings. He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it.
Thank you for depositing 5 coins.
Dear Diary, things didn't work out as I'd hoped, and once again I'm left with nothing but a broken heart. But tomorrow is another day, and I just know that there's a guy out there that's right for me. Look at those eyes, those amazing eyes. He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it. Look at that top hat, that amazing top hat. He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it.
You won't get tired of dying, will you?
Where's my beak?
Lodged in your forehead, of course. You won't get tired of my voice, will you? Let's go somewhere more private, so I can eat you.
Dear Diary, yesterday was so amazing, and I met such a wonderful guy. But I don't think it was meant to last, for my heart belongs to another. He's so amazing and strong and so cute. I've been thinking about him all day, and I think he's really into me too. He's the only one for me. I just know it. And I know just how to get him.
That game was totally rigged! That's what you get for leaving me hanging! It's not my fault! I have these fat plastic fingers and can't press the buttons! Mr. Hubs got me again! If I get jump scared, you get jump scared!
Psst, I have something to tell you. Hey, I want to tell you something. Psst, hey, over here. Get closer. Excuse me. Can you come a little closer? Hey, down here. Hello, I wanted to ask you something. It's something really important.
Yar, you win some, you lose some.
I never thought I'd make it through that vent, but now we are together. Let me show you how to break your face and look like me. I was the first. I have seen everything. Come closer. Let's smile together. I have seen him, the one you shouldn't have killed.
Time to face the consequences of your failure. Might as well face the fact you were always destined to fail. You blinked.
My friend, you have met a terrible, terrible demise. But, I don't feel too bad about it. After all, if it weren't from me, it would have just been from someone else, I guess what I'm trying to say is life goes on. Well, for everyone else, life goes on, not for you. You're dead. But that's neither here nor there. It reminds me of one summer day in the park. I was having just a delightful picnic with my good friend Orville. And I said to him, Orville, I have a story. And he said to me, what's the significance of the story? And I said to him, Orville, not every story has to have significance, Sometimes a story is just a story. If you try to read into every little thing and find meaning in everything anyone says, you'll just drive yourself crazy. I had a friend do it once. Wasn't pretty. We talked about it for years. And not only that, but you'll likely end up believing something you shouldn't believe and thinking something you shouldn't think, or assuming something you shouldn't assume, Sometimes, I said, a story is just a story. So just be quiet for 1 second of your life and eat your sandwich, okay? Of course, it was only then I realized I'd made sandwiches, and poor Orville was having such difficulty eating it. Elephants have those clumsy hands, Actually, I suppose that's the problem. They don't have hands at all, do they? They're all feet. And I couldn't imagine someone asking me to eat a sandwich with my feet. Now, if I recall correctly, there was a bakery nearby. I said to him, Orville, let me go get you some rye bread. Now, I'm unsure if elephants enjoy rye bread, but I assure you that Orville does. Now, this was on a Tuesday, which was good because rye bread was always fresh on Tuesday. They made sourdough bread on Monday and threw it out Wednesday, or rather, they sold it at a discount for people wanting to feed the ducks, and then probably at the end of the day, finally, they threw it all out. I don't recall. I do remember a man who would bring his son to the bakery every Wednesday and then go feed the ducks. He would buy all of the sourdough bread. Of course, you're not supposed to feed the ducks sourdough bread at all. It swells up in their stomach and then they all die. At least that's what I've heard. I never saw any ducks die myself, but I did notice a substantial decrease in the duck population over the course of a few years. I just never thought to stop the man and tell him that he was killing the ducks by feeding them sourdough bread. And if you want my opinion on the matter, and I told Orville this as well, if you want to feed ducks, or birds, or any kind for that matter, it's best to buy seed. I mean, when you think about it, breads of any sort don't occur in nature. They don't grow on trees or spring up from the bushes. I don't think birds know what to do with bread. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So I bought Orville some rye bread. What a fine day it was. It seems that you have met your end. What a pity. You know, I don't feel too bad about it, though. After all, if it weren't me, it would have just been one of the others, I guess. I'm honestly just glad to be out of those air ducts. You know, it's not easy for a hippopotamus to fit up there, and not easy to get down either, and not as young as I used to be, as you can see. I used to be able to do all the sorts of things. You're young, you're vibrant, you have that sort of pep in your step. It reminds me of a conversation I was having with one of my good friends, Orville. We were having a nice picnic one day. I believe it was summer. No, perhaps it was... Was it the fall? Yes, it was the fall because the leaves had turned already. But I said to Orville, I says, Orville, I have a story to tell you. And Orville looked at me, kind of odd and said, what's it about? I said to him, not every story has to be about something, Orville. Sometimes a person just wants to talk. Why does everything have to be a story? I said to him. He just looked at me and he said, well, you said you had a story, and he was quite right. I did, in fact. I told him I had a story. I suppose if a person just wants to talk, then it's best to not announce that you're telling a story. Telling a story does come with its own pressures and expectations, I suppose. After all, if you're just talking to a friend, then there's no more expectations than if you were talking into the wind. Words by themselves aren't expected to carry, aren't expected to stick. But if you announce you're telling a story, well then, there'd better be a point to it all, No one wants to sit and listen to someone ramble on and on and on with absolutely no end in sight. So, it's good to be mindful that when you tell someone that you're about to tell a story, that you have something to say. Telling someone that you're going to tell them a story is tantamount to asking them to stop what they're doing and pay attention. You're basically saying, hey, buddy, stop everything. Stop what you're thinking. I have a solution to everything. And, well, I didn't really have any story to tell. In hindsight, I probably just misspoke when I said that I had a story. I think it would have just been better to tell Orville that I wanted to tell him something rather than tell him that I had a story. But even then, it might have put too much importance on the whole thing. Either way, it was quite a nice day. I remember that we were drinking tea. Well, it seems that your journey has ended. Very sorry about that. It was always going to end this way, of course. If it weren't by me, it would have just been by some other, terrible thing. Just, you could not imagine how terrible it would be. Just, I get scared thinking about it. I'm glad it's not me. It reminds me of a time I was speaking to my good friend Orville. We were sitting on a park bench watching the pigeons. I was on the left, he was on the... Oh, wait, was I on the right or left? Anyways, it doesn't matter. We were sitting on there watching the pigeons. And I said to Orville, friend, those birds are frozen. And he kind of looked at me like I'd lost my mind. But I reminded him that it was winter, and often birds will sit in a tree until they freeze. And then they sort of fall to the ground until the sun warms up and they can, move around again. So I said to Orville, you might as well save those breadcrumbs until the birds thaw, because they can't very well enjoy them in the condition they're in. To which he asked what I meant, and asking what condition the crumbs should be in before he threw them to the birds, assuming that I meant the birds couldn't enjoy the breadcrumbs in the condition that the crumbs were in, when in fact I had meant the birds could not enjoy them in the condition that the birds were in, considering that the birds were frozen. So he took a moment and then threw his last handful onto the ground. I said to him, Orville, why did you throw the breadcrumbs to the birds when I just told you they're frozen? To which he responded, "The breadcrumbs are not frozen." Again, misunderstanding my words. I didn't mean to say that the breadcrumbs were frozen when I said I told you they're frozen. I'd been referring to the birds. You know, in hindsight, what I should have said was, and this would make perfect sense, why did you throw the breadcrumbs to the birds when the birds are frozen? He misunderstood upon my correction, stating that he didn't know what else to do with the breadcrumbs, and that perhaps, when the birds thawed, they'd still be able to eat the crumbs. So I said to Orville, and this is what I said to him, I said, "Orville, the birds may be dead." It seems that you have met a horrible demise, my friend, but, these things happen, and life goes on. Not for you, obviously. You're dead. But it reminds me of a time I was having a conversation with my friend Orville. We were where were we? I think we were by the river. We were sitting by the river and watching the fish leap over the falls. And I said to Orville, sometimes I feel like a fish leaping over and over again, always trying to get somewhere, though I don't know where, only to find myself in the jaws of a beast. He, of course, looked at me, surprised, "Have you been in the jaws of a beast, friend?" To which I said, "No, of course not, Orville." I said, No. I simply meant that life can seem like a relentless endeavor to overcome meaningless obstacles, only to meet an equally meaningless fate, regardless of your efforts, regardless of the obstacles you've passed. And Orville, he stood and proceeded to drape me with a picnic cloth, to which I asked him, I said, "Friend, what are you doing?" He looked at me very concerned, really. "I feel like you've gotten too much sun." Indeed, indeed I had. He proceeded to pour me a glass of just ice-cold lemonade. Ooh, you ever mix it with iced tea? You do like a little half lemonade, you should try it some. Well, you can't because you're dead. But anyways, so you may be asking yourself, how did I go from sitting by the falls and drinking lemonade to being wedged in the air duct? Not only with Orville, but with an entire assortment of fruity-colored friends. Well, there's really no good answer to that, but perhaps I met a demise of my own at some point, and this is my afterlife or my dream, whatever it might mean. I honestly don't know. Or maybe it doesn't mean anything at all. Maybe it doesn't mean anything at all.
message for you to help you get settled in on your first night. I actually worked in that office before you. I'm finishing up my last week now, as a matter of fact, so I know it can be a bit overwhelming, but I'm here to tell you there's nothing to worry about. You'll do fine. So let's just focus on getting you through your first week, okay? Let's see. First, there's an introductory greeting from the company that I'm supposed to read. It's kind of a legal thing, you know. Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a magical place for kids and grown-ups alike, where fantasy and fun come to life. Fazbear Entertainment is not responsible for damage to property or person. Upon discovering that damage or death has occurred, a missing person report will be filed within 90 days or as soon as property and premises have been thoroughly cleaned and bleached and the carpets have been replaced. Blah, blah, blah. Now, that might sound bad, I know, but there's really nothing to worry about. The animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky at night, but do I blame them? No. If I were forced to sing those same stupid songs for 20 years and I never got a bath, I'd probably be a bit irritable at night too. So remember, these characters hold a special place in the hearts of children and we need to show them a little respect, right? Okay. So just be aware, the characters do tend to wander a bit. They're left in some kind of free roaming mode at night. Something about their servos locking up if they get turned off for too long. They used to be allowed to walk around during the day too, but then there was the bite of 87. Yeah. It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe, you know? Now, concerning your safety, the only real risk to you as a night watchman here, if any, is the fact that these characters, if they happen to see you after hours, probably won't recognize you as a person. They'll most likely see you as a metal endoskeleton without its costume on. Now, since that's against the rules here at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, they'll probably try to forcefully stuff you inside a Freddy Fazbear suit. Now, that wouldn't be so bad if the suits themselves weren't filled with cross beams, wires, and animatronic devices, especially around the facial area. So you can imagine how having your head forcefully pressed inside one of those could cause a bit of discomfort and death. The only parts of you that would likely see the light of day again would be your eyeballs and teeth when they pop out the front of the mask. Yeah, they don't tell you these things when you sign up. But hey, first station of the breeze. I'll chat with you tomorrow. Check those cameras and remember to close the doors only if absolutely necessary. Gotta conserve power. Alright, good night. Hello? Hello? Well, if you're hearing this and you made it to day 2, congrats. I won't talk quite as long this time since Freddy and his friends tend to become more active as the week progresses. It might be a good idea to peek at those cameras while I talk, just to make sure everyone's in their proper place, you know. Interestingly enough, Freddy himself doesn't come off stage very often. I've heard he becomes a lot more active in the dark, though, so hey, I guess that's one more reason not to run out of power, right? I also want to emphasize the importance of using your door lights. There are blind spots in your camera views, and those blind spots happen to be right outside your doors. So if you can't find something or someone on your cameras, be sure to check the door lights. You might only have a few seconds to react. Not that you would be in any danger, of course. I'm not implying that. Also, check on the curtain in Pirate Cove from time to time. The character in there seems unique in that he becomes more active if the cameras remain off for long periods of time. I guess he doesn't like being watched. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure you have everything under control. Talk to you soon. Hello, hello. Hey, you're doing great. people don't last this long. I mean, you know, they usually move on to other things by now. I'm not implying that they died. That's not what I meant. Anyway, I better not take up too much of your time. Things start getting real tonight. Hey, listen, I had an idea. If you happen to get caught and want to avoid getting stuffed into a Freddy suit, try playing dead. You know, go limp. Then there's a chance that maybe they'll think that you're an empty costume instead. Then again, if they think you're an empty costume, they might try to stuff a metal skeleton into you. I wonder how that would work. Yeah, never mind. Scratch that. It's best just not to get caught. Okay, I'll leave you to it. See you on the flip side. Hello, and welcome to your new summer job at the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I'm here to talk you through some of the things you can expect to see during your first week here and to help you get started down this new and exciting career path. Now, I want you to forget anything you may have heard about the old location, you know. Some people still have a somewhat negative impression of the company. That old restaurant was kind of left to rot for quite a while, but I want to reassure you, Fazbear Entertainment is committed to family fun and above all, safety. They've spent a small fortune on these new animatronics. Facial recognition, advanced mobility, they even let them walk around during the day. Isn't that neat? But most importantly, they're all tied into some kind of criminal database so they can detect a predator a mile away. Heck, we should be paying them to guard you. Now, that being said, no new system is without its kinks. You're only the second guard to work at that location. The first guy finished his week but complained about conditions. We switched him over to the day shift. So, hey, lucky you, right? Mainly he expressed concern that certain characters seemed to move around at night and even attempted to get into his office. Now, from what we know, that should be impossible. That restaurant should be the safest place on Earth. So while our engineers don't really have an explanation for this, the working theory is that the robots were never given a proper night mode. So when it gets quiet, they think they're in the wrong room. So then they go try to find where the people are, and in this case, that's your office. So our temporary solution is this. There's a music box over by the prize counter, and it's rigged to be wound up remotely. So just every once in a while, switch over to the prize counter video feed and wind it up for a few seconds. It doesn't seem to affect all of the animatronics, but it does affect one of them. And as for the rest of them, we have an even easier solution. You see, there may be a minor glitch in the system, something about robots seeing you as an endoskeleton without a costume on and wanting to stuff you into a suit. So hey, we've given you an empty Freddy Fazbear head. Problem solved. You can put it on any time and leave it on for as long as you want. Eventually anything that wandered in will wander back out. Something else worth mentioning is kind of the quirky modern design of the building. You may have noticed there are no doors for you to close. But hey, you have lights, and even though your flashlight can run out of power, the building cannot. So don't worry about the place going dark. Well, I think that's it. You should be golden. Check the lights, put on the Freddy head if you need to. Keep the music box wound up. Piece of cake. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hello. For today's lesson, we will be continuing our training on proper suit handling techniques. When using an animatronic as a suit, please ensure that the animatronic parts are tightly compressed and fastened by the spring locks located around the inside of the suit. It may take a few moments to position your head and torso between these parts in a manner where you can move and speak. Try not to nudge or press against any of the spring locks inside the suit. Do not touch the spring locks at any time. Do not breathe on the spring locks, as moisture may loosen them and cause them to break loose. In the case that the spring locks come loose while you are wearing a suit, please try to maneuver away from populated areas before bleeding out, as to not ruin the customer experience. As always, if there is ever an emergency, please go to the designated safe room. Every location is built with one extra room that is not included in the digital map layouts programmed into the animatronics or security system. This room is hidden to customers, invisible to animatronics, and is always off camera. As always, remember to smile. You are the face of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.